Hi, it's Michelle from Movement Lesson, and during this past Thursday's class, I was asked if the lesson I just did on someone on their face that I could do to myself, and I said absolutely. So this is what you're about to watch, is how to work on the face, the nasal cavity, through the chin on your own. However, if you want to see how it's done to somebody else, as a parent, as a practitioner, as a professional, then subscribe to Baby Movement Lesson. I've set up this site. It's $5 a month or $50 a year, price of a magazine. But I'm loading up all my class videos, all my instructional videos, my half-hour to hour-long movement lesson sessions are on Baby Movement Lesson. So if you really want to see how it's done, subscribe to that. Don't think you'll be sorry. And if you are, tell me you don't want to be doing it anymore. Just, stop your monthly fee or your bi-yearly. I can refund that. But I hope you enjoy how to work on your face. It's really incredible. You can do this going to sleep, when you wake up in the morning, just because. And it's a great thing after surgeries, whatever, just to make yourself more organized, appreciate what you've got better, move better. Thanks. Okay, so normally we work on each other then and do what I just taught, but it was asked if I could do this lesson to myself, so I am going to do this lesson on myself that we just watched. So it's the same thing here. Now again, notice how my arms are supported. If you're really worried about, I can even bring the pillow forward to support the hand. I don't want to use muscles. I don't use muscles hardly, and I've noticed my tone is changing because I work so passively that, I probably have to do some extracurricular to build up muscle mass because of my age. But when you're doing something, so let's say if I put this pillow back, so you don't want to be up here. See, just to hold my arm is going to affect this lesson and how. Now, I'm not saying it will be a bad lesson, but I go for the path of least resistance. So again, and now I'm supporting the other hand through the arm here. So I'm just finding a comfortable space, and I'm going to support the jaw here. As again, it's almost, I'm pushing down on the nasal cavity, but push is probably just too severe of a word. So now even with me, I'm just sort of like using the weight of my hand in a sense. So even with me doing this right here, I so can feel, again, right through the temporal bone behind the ear where that movement is going. Now where I'm not feeling it again is, let's say, in the back of my head. And again, I'm just noticing that. I'm not jumping to say, okay, I need that to work. Now also what I'm noticing on me is so as I push down on the nasal cavity, so with that I'm going to, even though I'm talking, lift my jaw slightly as I push down on the nose. And that actually is pretty cool. So again, what I'm doing by lifting the jaw and pressing down on the nasal cavity, it's creating the torque through the skull in this fashion. Most people think of a torque through this fashion and not, that way. So I don't know how else to explain it right now. Sandra really needs to bring me a skeletal system. But it's this way, but I'm still, as I push down on the nasal cavity, and in my case, and again, I'm saying in my case, I adjust a lesson to whoever I'm working on, even if it's me. So, and I just think that's natural. So now I'm going to apply just off of one side of the jaw. So I'm going this way with the jaw and down on the nose. And there I'm really getting the back activated. My upper torso, it's actually quite neat. It's under the scapulas. And that's a real hard area to get to on anybody, whether you're a masseuse or a practitioner of movement. So again, this is where I learn. I'm like, I need to do this maybe to somebody else now. So I'm pushing down and I'm pushing up into the jaw. And the head's really, it's like I'm almost exaggerate, like I'm lifting myself up. So now, like I did with Ariana, I'm going to do the original movement again and see if it made a difference. So already, the difference of the rotation, now I feel a little bit of pressure, and this is now where I'm getting sensitive in the skull, the temple, sorry. So yeah, I'm working on the whole skull, I get that. So I'm going to take my thumb now and do, or actually the thumb won't work in this position because I'm going up and I need to go back. So what I'm going to do is almost like a little pinch and put my fingers into the nasal cavity or the upper sinus there and do where I'm pushing up. And now here's where I can feel my issues. The top part of the kyphosis, which if anyone wants to come here and work on me, this section, if I could have an out-of-body experience. So as I'm rotating my head, where the spine should grow at that point, mine wants to round and go back. Again, I'm over-exaggerating because that's just, where my brain's going. So yes, I actually stopped talking for a second. Oh, and right there my jaw's actually coming a tad forward like a peck. It sort of naturally wants to do that, so again, I'm going for a ride. And now see too, I'm just, again, I'm not pinching my nose, I'm just riding it. It naturally now I'm bringing it down. And even my breath just changed and I can go back up again. Notice I don't need as much hand. Before I was like this, and now I can just literally with just my tips of my finger. And again, I'm already doing a little bit different than the lesson I just did, yeah, but I'm working on me now and that's where I'm going. Also, the way I can work on myself in this direction, my pressures are different as I touch my face than the way my pressures hit Ariana's face. So I have to change. Oh, so now what I can do is I can widen this stance a little bit, and where there I can twist. So I can see how my thumb comes under my nose, and I'm twisting. Ooh, that feels really neat.
That's what I was feeling.
Feeling the skull twist up. And it's what's neat when the more the skull twists up, and I'll bring it back, it's like this part of my face, like I feel like a Salvador Dali, like it's just like, I feel like my jowls just went down to the pillow, even though they haven't. I only had that experience once before, the lesson where you have the hand bent and you lift the hand up and down. I swear my ulna and the radius was just bent. I had literally, because we were doing this one, and I had to look at my arm because I just thought it was like a Salvador paint. It just, the clarity of this being straight was gone. It was like, okay. So. And again, I'm asking my face, just like when I give a movement lesson to somebody else, to do things that it just, maybe the person's never experienced before. So the brain's going, what? Oh, this is cool. So what I'm doing here is I'm rotating the jaw at a different, so I'm rotating the nasal cavity down and the jaw out a little bit. So what that's doing is right here, I'm asking the rotation here. Okay, now that being said, now I kept my hand on the jaw for Ariana, But in this case, because I have limited of where this hand can go, I'm going to stabilize my nasal cavity and use my right hand. But I can stabilize the jaw with my thumb if I need to. But I'm going to go in here. So now I'm actually going to start pulling my face down. So I'm going up through the nasal cavity and pulling down through the temple. But again, notice I'm not doing a left-right thing. It's still a twist. I'm sort of pushing up in that direction. And down. But that is that lift. See if I went so far and lifting the head up. Oh, this feels good. So now I'm coming down. So I'm right here, pulling the top part of my cheek up. So I feel where the torque through the brow is just a bit much. So I'm going to come just in here, and I'm just going to ask myself to participate more. Same thing. Notice I lift, fall. It's subtle, but it's a lift and fall. Right here, this is where the neck. Also, when I push into here, I can feel it where that top part, what the residual of the kyphosis area that still, I should say, bugs me, but I shouldn't say that. And this is something my head doesn't get to experience that much. So let's see. Well, let's finish what I was doing here. So that's much better. So now here it's sort of going to look like the screen. I can come back to the temporal again over the ear. See that? Ah. And again, it's a whole twist through the skull. So the trajectory here, so it's like cogwheels twisting. Starting to feel like a transformer. Right here. So here now, I'm going to lift very slightly my right hand, and I can go into that palm heel. So it's back in this area of the face. So again, and notice if your mouth is dropping open, or do you still have a clenched jaw? So here what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to take my left hand and go under my neck, because I need that support if I'm going to do that. So then I can come here. Now notice my elbow is up. I get that, but it's up on a 90-degree angle. So I'm not here supporting the weight of my arm. I'm sort of, I'm just resting, just as if I was to go like this, versus, again, the weight of the entire arm. So yes, do I have to use muscles? But at the same time, it's more efficient. And so I'm just starting to stretch out. Now one thing I could do, because it's me, and maybe I can do it to other people, so what the heck, I'm going in now. My elbow's going to have to come here because of the trajectory, but I'm going to go through and palm heel my socket. You don't want to put the pressure on the eye, because actually the memory behind the eye is very sensitive or delicate. You see that with people that are older and they're visually impaired, because as kids they were looking for stars or sparkles or whatever. You don't want children to put the pressure on the eye, because it can sink the socket. So I'm going around the bone, but depending on how your face is shaped or you've had trauma, you don't want to put the pressure on the eyeball. You want to keep it on the socket itself. Now with this, actually, since it's me, I can actually take my whole back and twist my pelvis. So now what I'm doing, it's almost like a sweep with the palm and twist through the face. And that's pretty cool because of what it does for the whole back and neck issues. Now again, this is a great move. I'm telling you, you have to start out with the baby step with the nasal cavity because of the way that the skull has to be available for the movement. And see, now I could do quickies if I wanted to. And you can see how that can work on the whole shoulder girdle, everything. So now I'm going to go back to that palm heel spread. I'm actually keeping my hand quite stationary, like here, versus out where I would be. See here, I would just roll off the pillow and roll, and that's not the movement I'm looking for. I'm looking for the head itself to actually twist open in a sense. So you can say, oh, why didn't I think of that before? Now here it's interesting. I can feel where I've got issues of organization right in my shoulder. So I'm going to bring the arm down. Maybe I had the arm up too much. So I can go back to the original move. But see now with me, if you see the difference in the movements, and also the lightness in the head, I can come underneath with this arm and roll the head more. Right here, I'm a little heavy. So I'm going to come underneath here. That's sort of what I did with Ariana. And I'm just showing the lift. So I'm right into my vertebrae with my right hand as my whole head lifts. And again, now I can go back and see if that's much nicer lifting. There you go. See, now my head's twisting. My back is much more engaged at this point. See how I can lift my head much better now versus, there you go. So now I can lift and bring my head back over the spine if I want to, or bring it forward. And back over and bring it forward. And even like I mentioned before with Ariana, if you watch that video, I can even feel how I'm coming over my toes here, and I'm just lying down versus over my heels. How I'm over my pelvis this way, pronation, and coming back over my pelvis from behind, which is pretty neat. I've said it before, if you don't think I do this stuff all the time. So now I'm going to go back and do the same thing. Hand underneath my neck. There we go. Now that's a palm heel. Woohoo.
Doesn't that feel awesome?
Yes. What it is too is how much the chest now is coming over. See, at this point too, I'm going to just try it. It's like you can feel your pelvis spread, your knees. And two, I can elongate through here, so I'm palm heeling up my cheek. So it's a twist. If you want, there's water in the fridge.
I have water bottle.
Okay. And twist back down through the jaw. And see now, even to myself, I can totally just take myself off the table or bring myself back into line.
So here with the palm heel up on the sinus or the temple, forehead, that's what I'm looking for. Yes, most people would think bringing back, but what I'm going to do is lift through the back of my vertebrae and then bring it back down. And same thing, I can lift and just slowly feel the rotation. And again, this is something my body doesn't do. Because of the way my back is shaped, I probably get up more this way versus, and again, it's just a variation of playing with myself. So I can go back and now with all of this too, you can so add to the complexities, you know, looking up, looking down, you know, floating the eyes. And now you can see too. Now here with the jaw, I can do this. I can lift the jaw. And drop. Notice how I stabilize the head, or I can do the whole head and drop. This is harder to do on yourself because the hands have to be able to drop as well. Or here at the head and drop. Again, if you're on the floor that happens to be maybe under concrete, be careful. I'm on 3 inches of foam. So here, and again, just pull my hands away, drop. Drop. And now go back and just see if that made a difference. And it totally did. See, look at how the chest can even go. Whee! Pelvis, feet, ankles. I love this stuff. So now everybody go home. Give yourself a movement lesson.
Michelle in her own little world.
You asked.